25 of the fantasy baseball season. And if you made it to the finals here, well, next week is your finals. Congratulations. But anyway, here's a few pitchers I've looked ahead on the waiver wire this week. The first guy, Shane Bass of the Tampa Bay Rays. So Bass getting finally promoted for his major league debut here today is Bass for the Tampa Bay Rays versus a tough hitting Toronto Blue Jay offense here. So Bass in the minor leagues had a pretty good season, a 1.76 ERA, 0.85 whip in 46 innings with 64 strikeouts. So right here, he's the number 20 prospect in all of Major League Baseball. And right here, these type of guys can win your leagues here. Right now with the final week and the championship or your third place game, this guy definitely could be a factor for fantasy owners. And he's definitely a guy I think that could go out there and go deep into this ball game or at least have a high strikeout rate versus this Toronto Blue Jay team. And right now it looks like he's going to be a two-start starter this week, which obviously is also a key thing here for Shane Bass in the Tampa Bay Rays. And right now he's available in 79% of fantasy leagues. So right here, I would give him a shot this week is Shane Bass. The next pitcher I would look at this week's Josh Rogers of the Washington Nationals. So I know this national team's been poor this year. I know they haven't been scoring runs, but some of these starting pitchers have been pretty decent. And reports came out the other day that Josh Rogers will remain in the starting rotation. Davey Martinez said on the season for Rogers, I know a small sample size, 17 and a third, 1-0 record, 13 hits, 5 runs, 2 homers, 5 walks, 12 Ks, 2.60 ERA, a 1.04 whip and a quality start. And the last couple weeks for him, 11 and 2/3, no record, 9 hits, 2 runs, a homer, 2 walks, 7 Ks, a 1.54 ERA, 0.94 whip and a quality start. So right here, I know he's had 2 slam dunk matchups in his first few starts here. September 10th at the Pirates, 6 and 2/3, 8 hits, 2 runs, a homer, a walk, a K, a 2.70 ERA, a 1.35 whip and a quality start. And September 15th versus Miami, 5 innings, gave up a hit, no decision, a walk, 6 Ks, and 0.40 whip. So his next outing is tomorrow at the Miami Marlins. And right here, it's a good matchup on paper. Rogers pitched well versus them in his last outing, like I mentioned. And he's another guy that might be a 2-start starter this week is Rogers. So right here, if you need some deep starting pitching help in your fantasy leagues, I think Rogers is a guy that could go out there and once again have a pretty good ball game versus this Washington national team. And he's available in 96% of fantasy leagues. The next pitcher I looked at this week is Vladimir Guerrero of the Cincinnati Reds. So he pitches here tonight versus a weak Pirate team. And Gutierrez, we've seen great flashes out of him throughout the season. And right now, he's available as Gutierrez in 64% of fantasy leagues on the season. 108 innings, 9 and 6 record, 103 hits, 51 runs, 18 homers, 41 walks, 82 strikeouts, a 4.25 ERA, 1.33 whip and 11 quality starts. In the last couple weeks for him, 8 and 2/3, no record, 7 hits, 5 runs, a homer, 5 walks, 6 Ks, a 5.19 ERA, 1.38 whip, and no quality starts in the time. So I know he hasn't been pitching the baseball that well, and I know it's been a struggle here for him, but we've seen great things out of him in the last few months of July and August. Just this month's been a struggle. So the last few outings, September 3rd versus Detroit, 3 1/3, got the loss, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 homers, a walk, a K, an 8.10 ERA, a 1.50 whip. September 8th at the Cubs, 5 innings, no decision, 2 hits, a run, a homer, 2 walks, 6 Ks, a 1.80 ERA, 0.80 whip. And September 15th at the Pirates, 3 2/3, no decision, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 9.82 ERA, a 2.18 whip. So right here, we'll see if he could turn it around today versus Pittsburgh, where he struggled in his last outing versus them, like I mentioned, September 15th. But he's a guy that still could go out there, I believe, have a high strikeout rate, and he's a guy that most likely is going to get 2 starts as well this week here, is Vladimir Guerrero. So I think he could turn things up, get things going, and I think he could be a pivotal add this week in helping fantasy teams make a big move and win their championship or whatever they're in this week. The next pitcher is Michael Fulmer of the Detroit Tigers. So Fulmer, the closer now for this Tiger team on the season, 65 innings, 5 and 6 record, 10 saves, 64 hits, 23 runs, 7 homers, 18 walks, 69 strikeouts, a 3.18 ERA, 1.26 whip in the last couple weeks here for Fulmer. 7 innings, 2 saves, no record, 5 hits, 2 walks, 7 Ks, and no ERA, and a 1 whip. So I know this Tiger team isn't the greatest of teams, but hey, Fulmer's going out there, and he's been a valuable closer right now for fantasy owners with a no ERA in the last couple weeks, with a couple saves bunched up. And right here, that's all you could ask for, 2-3 saves a week, and a guy not giving up runs. And right now, Fulmer's available in 83% of fantasy leagues. So if you need a closer this deep into the season, I think he's a good add. And the final pitcher I've looked at this week's Feyty of the Washington Nationals. So Feyty here, he's pitching today at Miami. Another 2-start starter this week. And I know Washington's a bad team. They haven't played well this season, but we've seen good games and poor games from Feyty. So we'll see what Feyty shows up this week here. But on the season, 122 innings, 7-9 record, 128 hits, 70 runs, 20 homers, 44 walks, 120 strikeouts, a 5.16 ERA, a 1.41 whip in 6 quality starts in the last couple weeks here for Feyty. 11 innings, 1-0 record, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 homers, 15 Ks, a 4.09 ERA, 0.73 whip. So the last few outings, they've been mediocre outings here for Feyty. But like I mentioned, he's pitched well versus Miami this season, and he's got Miami and then another start later in the week. He's going to be a 2-start starter. So September 9th in Atlanta, 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 homers, no decisions, 7 Ks, a 6 ERA, 0.83 whip. And September 14th versus Miami, 5 innings, got the win, 3 hits, a run, a homer, 8 Ks, 1.80 whip, 1.80 ERA, and an 0.60 whip. So right here, we'll see what he can do today at Miami. And he's available as well in 83% of fantasy leagues. I know both these teams are poor in the NL East, but I would look to take advantage of the 2 starts, and I would look to take advantage of a poor team on offense he's versus now Miami. So that's a few pitchers I look to add here as the season winds down in week 25 of the fantasy baseball season.